Right now, as you listen to these words, there is a silent war being waged in the palm of your hand. You feel it, don't you? That phantom vibration in your pocket, that electric twitch in your thumb, that Pavlovian urge to check a screen that has become less of a tool and more of an external organ. You are living in the loudest era of human history, a digital circus where your very existence is measured by the frequency of your signals. We have been conditioned to believe that to be silent is to be dead, and to be invisible is to be irrelevant. But look closer. Look past the neon glow of the influencers screaming for your attention, past the manufactured outrage and the filtered perfection of people you barely know. In the middle of this deafening roar, there is a shadow, a ghost. A person sitting in a crowded room, phone face down, eyes fixed on the horizon, with a terrifyingly calm sense of presence. Their name will never appear in your notifications. Their dinner will never be staged for a camera. Their heartbreak and their triumphs will never be harvested for engagement. While the rest of the world is bleeding out emotionally, begging to be seen, these individuals are winning a game you didn't even know was being played. Ask yourself, when was the last time you experienced something truly beautiful and didn't immediately feel the poison of a secondary thought? That tiny, parasitic voice whispering, "How do I frame this for them?" In that moment, the experience dies. It is no longer yours. It becomes a product for a market that doesn't care about you. You have become the curator of a museum of your own life, but you've forgotten how to actually live in the house. This is the existential wound of the 21st century. We are fragmenting our souls into pixels, hoping that if we gather enough likes, the hollow ache inside will finally stop. But it never does. It only gets hungrier. And yet, there they are, the non-posters, the ones who refuse to provide the data points for their own enslavement. They aren't hiding because they are afraid. They are staying silent because they are powerful. Their silence isn't a void, it is a fortress. You know the anxiety I'm talking about. The cold sweat when a post doesn't perform. The subtle, soul-crushing habit of comparing your messy, behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's highlight reel. It's a form of psychological masochism we've normalized. We have turned our lives into a 24/7 performance, a digital panopticon where we are both the prisoners and the guards, constantly watching and being watched. But the person who never posts has walked out of the prison. They have realized a truth that scares the hell out of big tech and social engineers, that your value is not a public commodity. There is a profound, almost primal dominance in being a mystery in an age of overexposure. By refusing to be tracked, they retain their sovereignty. They are the only ones left who own their own stories. When you don't post, you aren't just not sharing, you are reclaiming the energy that everyone else is throwing into the void. You are keeping the fire for yourself instead of using it to signal to strangers in the dark. This video is not a superficial lecture on digital detox. It is a surgical dissection of the psychology of power and the philosophy of the hidden self. Why do the most successful, the most grounded, and the most dangerous minds often leave the smallest digital footprints? Is their absence a lack of relevance, or is it the ultimate flex of psychological superiority? We have been taught that attention is wealth, but the truth is that privacy is the only true currency left. The people you never see online are the ones who have already found what you are still posting to find. They have realized that true life happens in the cracks between the pixels, in the moments that are too heavy, too sacred, or too real to be compressed into a caption. They aren't missing out on your world. They are the only ones fully present in theirs. You feel it, don't you? A part of you envies that ghost. A part of you is tired of the performance. You're tired of being a brand. You're tired of the exhaustion that comes with maintaining a digital avatar that is more successful, more happy, and more alive than you actually feel. Today, we're going to look into the void of the unposted life. We are going to explore the terrifying freedom of being a nobody in a world obsessed with being somebody. We are going to reveal the secrets of the minds that don't need the world to watch them bleed to know they are alive. By the time we are done, the silence of your phone won't feel like a tragedy anymore. It will feel like a weapon. It will feel like home. Welcome to the psychology of the invisible. Welcome to the only place where you can finally be real. I promise that by the time you reach the end of this journey, the way you perceive the world and your place in it will be fundamentally altered. You have been conditioned to look at empty profiles and inactive accounts as signs of failure, as people who fell off or simply couldn't keep up with the frantic pace of the modern age. You couldn't be more wrong. This is your definitive guide to the psychology of digital privacy, a masterclass in how to stop being a product and start being a person again. After today, you will never look at a blank profile as a boring life again. You'll see it as a fortress of mental clarity. You will understand why the most elite minds protect their inner world with a ferocity that borders on the sacred. We are going to strip away the dopamine-induced fog and show you exactly how to regain your focus, your self-worth, and your sovereign time without needing a single digital amen from a faceless crowd. Stay with me until the final seconds, because I'm going to reveal the shadow rule, the cold, strategic reason why the world's most powerful players are the ones you can't find on a search engine. They aren't just surviving the digital age, they are mastering it by refusing to let it master them. Before we descend into the shadows of the human ego to uncover the first secret, let the algorithm know you're choosing depth over noise. If you value the sanctity of your own mind, tap the like button as if it were a secret handshake, and subscribe to join this silent circle of thinkers. No noise, just insight. Now, let's begin the escalation. Let us begin by peeling back the first layer of this digital sickness, a layer I call the ego tax. You see, every time you open an app and prepare to share a piece of your life, you are entering into a transaction where you are not the customer, but the currency. You are paying with your persona. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung spoke at length about the persona, the social mask we wear to navigate the world. It is a necessary tool, a compromise between the individual and society. But Jung warned us of a terrifying possibility, that the mask could become so heavy, so all-consuming, that the individual disappears behind it. In the digital age, your persona has been weaponized against you. You no longer wear a mask for a few hours at a party or in the office. You are forced to wear it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in a hypervisible global theater. Think about the psychological toll of this constant performance. When you post, you are essentially outsourcing your sense of self to a committee of strangers. You're asking the world to tell you if your joy was real, if your sadness was valid, or if your beauty was sufficient. This creates a feedback loop that fragments your identity. You begin to view your life through a third-person lens. You're no longer you experiencing a sunset. You're a content creator capturing a sunset. The self is sacrificed at the altar of the persona. This is the ego tax. The more you share, the less of you actually remains. The people who never post have simply refused to pay this tax. They have recognized that their inner life is too precious to be taxed by the opinions of the masses. They have kept their self intact by refusing to let the mask fuse to their skin. While you are busy polishing your digital avatar, they are doing the real work of being human, living in the unedited, unrecorded, and utterly private depths of their own consciousness. They understand that a life lived for an audience is not a life, but a rehearsal for a show that never actually begins. Now, let us escalate. Move deeper into the shadows where we find the power of mystery. There's a cold, strategic advantage to silence that most people are too desperate for attention to notice. In his seminal work, The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene outlines Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. It is a fundamental law of human psychology that scarcity creates value. When you are always available, always visible, and always posting, you become predictable. You become a commodity. You are easily categorized, filed away, and eventually ignored. The world feels it has figured you out. There's no tension, no curiosity, no weight to your presence, because you have spilled your guts across the digital floor for everyone to step on. But consider the person who never posts. Their silence creates a psychological vacuum. Because the world knows nothing about them, it is forced to imagine everything. They become a blank canvas upon which others project their fascinations and their fears. In a world of overexposure, mystery is a superpower. When you don't post, you retain your scarcity. You are the black swan, the unpredictable element that commands respect simply by refusing to be known. Every time you resist the urge to share, you are performing an act of psychological dominance. You are saying, I'm not for sale. My thoughts are not for your consumption. My location is none of your business. This creates an aura of gravity. People are drawn to those who possess a private world because it suggests a level of self-sufficiency that most people can only dream of. The silent ones don't need to shout to be heard. Their absence speaks louder than your most viral post ever could. They are the ones who understand that the most powerful thing you can do in a room full of people talking is to be the one who knows exactly when to walk out without saying a word. Let's break the rhythm for a moment. Look at your hands. Look at the device you are holding. Think about the billions of dollars spent by the most brilliant engineers on the planet specifically to keep you from ever reaching this level of clarity. They want you distracted. They want you reactive. They want your default mode network, the part of your brain responsible for self-reflection and imagination, to be constantly interrupted by pings and red dots. Now, realize this. While you're being harvested for your attention, the people who don't post are the ones doing the harvesting. This is the observation advantage. In the ecosystem of the internet, there are two roles, the prey and the predator. The prey are those who feel a compulsive need to show themselves, to be seen, to be validated. They are transparent, vulnerable, and easily manipulated. The predators, the true observers, are the ones who stay silent. They watch, they listen, they collect data without providing any. By staying off the grid, they gain a panoramic view of reality that is denied to those who are busy framing it. They see the patterns, the shifts in the culture, and the weaknesses of those who are oversharing. They are the ultimate fly on the wall. While you're busy trying to look good for the camera, they are watching you do it. They are studying the mechanics of your insecurity. This isn't just about privacy, it's about intelligence. The person who doesn't post has the mental bandwidth to actually think deeply, to read the room, and to understand the subtext of life. They aren't trapped in the now of the feed, they are living in the always of reality. They have reclaimed their default mode network and used it to build a mind that is a fortress, not a billboard. Social media is a marketplace of souls, a place where the most intimate parts of the human experience are bartered for the cheapest form of currency: attention. When you post your deepest thoughts or your most vulnerable moments, you are essentially bringing them to the marketplace to be appraised by the common herd. And in that act, the value of that experience is diminished. It becomes common, becomes content. The digital ascetic, the person who chooses not to post, is protecting the sanctity of their own life. They are practicing a form of modern holiness. They have realized that the most intense joys are the ones that are never shared. The most profound revelations are the ones that stay locked inside the skull. They are not missing out on the digital conversation. They are opting out of the degradation of the spirit. They are finding joy in the invisible, in the moments that belong to them and them alone. They have reached a level of psychological maturity where they no longer need the world to be their mirror. They have become their own light. They have looked into the abyss of the digital void, saw the billions of souls screaming for a glance, and chose to turn their backs and walk into the quiet, cool shadows of the real world. This is the ultimate escalation. Moving from being a slave to the light to becoming a master of the dark. Listen closely now, because we have reached the point of no return. This is the moment where the floor falls away, and you are forced to look at the terrifyingly beautiful truth that you have been avoiding every time you refreshed your feed. We have spent this time discussing the strategies and the psychology of those who stay hidden, but there's a deeper revelation, a plot twist in the story of your own life that you aren't ready to hear. You've been looking at the ghosts, the people who never post, with a subtle sense of pity, haven't you? Somewhere in the back of your mind, you thought they were missing out. You thought they were lonely. You thought they were failing to keep up with the vibrant, pulsing rhythm of modern existence. But here's the truth that will shatter your perception of reality. They aren't the ones who are lonely. You are. The most shocking secret behind the minds of those who never post is that they have already found exactly what you are screaming into the digital void to find. You post because you are hungry. You're hungry for a witness. You're terrified that if no one sees you, you don't actually exist. You are looking for a reflection of yourself in the cold glass of other people's screens to prove that your life has weight. But the person who never posts, they are already whole. They have reached a state of ontological security where the self is self-contained. They don't need a witness because they are their own witness. They don't need the world to validate their joy for it to be real. While you are fragmenting your soul into 1,000 different pieces to please 1,000 different strangers, they are sitting in the center of their own being, undivided, unedited, and completely at peace. The revelation is this: they aren't missing out on your life. They're the only ones who are actually fully present in theirs. You are the one living a ghost story, haunted by the avatars of people you don't even like. They're the only ones who are truly alive. And now I must reveal to you the shadow rule. This is the cold, calculated reason why the most powerful, high-status individuals you will ever meet, the CEOs of companies that own your data, the architects of the systems you live in, rarely share their personal lives. It isn't just about privacy in a sentimental sense. It is about leverage. In the world of power, information is the ultimate weapon. When you post, you're giving away your blueprints. You are showing the world your triggers, your weaknesses, your locations, your desires, and your vulnerabilities. You're making yourself hackable, not just digitally, but psychologically. The shadow rule states that he who is unknown is uncontrollable. By staying off the grid, these individuals retain total sovereignty over their narrative. If the world doesn't know what you're doing, the world cannot colonize your time. If people don't know what you value, they cannot use it against you. If they don't know where you are, they cannot find you to sell you something or to demand something from you. Silence is the ultimate cloak of invisibility in an age of total surveillance. The people at the top know that visibility is a trap. It is a cage made of gold and likes, but it is a cage nonetheless. They choose the shadows not because they have something to hide, but because they have something to protect, their freedom. They know that once you are seen, you are captured. You become a data point to be manipulated by an algorithm. By refusing to post, they remain the only unpredictable variables in a world of calculated sheep. Now, look into the mirror of this realization. Feel the weight of it in your chest. The reason you have watched this video for this long isn't just curiosity. It's because a part of you is exhausted. A part of you is grieving. You're mourning the person you used to be before you started living for the grid. You envy the ghost. You envy their silence. You envy the fact that they can wake up on a Tuesday morning and watch the rain without wondering how to describe it to an audience. You're tired of the performance. You're tired of the ego tax. You're tired of being a product. You want the peace that they have, but you are terrified of the silence that comes with it. You are afraid that if you stop posting, you will disappear. But that is the final lie of the digital age. You won't disappear. In fact, for the first time in a long time, you will actually show up. You will return to your own body. You will return to your own mind. You will find that the nothingness you feared in the silence is actually the only place where your true self can breathe. The people who never post have already made this journey. They have crossed the desert of digital isolation and found the oasis of true presence. They aren't better than you, but they are more themselves than you have been allowed to be. They have realized that the most powerful thing you can do in 2026 is to be a person who cannot be found, cannot be bought, and cannot be summed up in a bio. They are the masters of the shadow rule, and they are waiting for you to join them in the quiet. The world will continue to scream. It will continue to demand that you sacrifice your privacy for the illusion of belonging and your soul for the promise of being seen. But you now know the secret of the ghosts. You understand that silence isn't a void. It is the only place left where you can truly hear yourself think. You have seen the high cost of the ego tax and the strategic genius of the shadow rule. The choice is no longer between being relevant or being forgotten. The choice is between being a performer in someone else's circus or being the sovereign ruler of your own private reality. True life happens in the moments you choose not to prove to anyone that it's happening. If this realization has hit you with the weight of 1,000 ignored notifications, if you are ready to stop being a product and start being a mystery again, leave a moon in the comments. Do not explain it. Do not add a caption. Just leave the mark. It is a signal to the others who have chosen to reclaim their shadows and their sanity. Now turn off the screen. Step into the quiet. Go live a life so beautiful, so deep, and so real that a camera could never hope to capture it. Go be invisible. Go be free.